Every principal and instructional leader wants their scores to be through the roof. But how does that happen? It only happens if you have a master teacher sitting in that classroom guiding students to become the best in that content area. So what's the number one thing that has to be in place right now, this month, if you want teachers to become a master teacher? And the answer is, it's a goal. Now, one of the things that many people miss is that they mistake a goal for an aspiration. They mistake an aspiration for a goal. In other words, they say, we want you to have highly effective instruction. That's not a goal, that's an aspiration. A goal is a very targeted, specific area that you want someone to be really good at. In other words, we don't want to say, hey, we want you to be a great athlete. What specifically do we want you to do to be a great athlete? Do we want you to run the mile in so many minutes? Do we want you to lift so much weight? So here's the recommendation for this week. Make sure you and the teacher that you are working with this year are crystal clear on what the goal is. Do you want them to have excellent structure? Do you want them to have amazing relationships? Do you want them to have powerful engagement? Do you want them to have rigorous instruction? So something that I've created that will help you is this thing called a hierarchy of instructional excellence. What it's designed to be is a prioritized list to help teachers who are brand new to the profession all the way to teachers who have been in the profession for a number of years and want to be great. In this hierarchy of instructional excellence, it allows the leader to really specify what the goal should be. So level 1 would be becoming excellent at resources for learning. Perhaps you're having some classroom management issues. So the second level in the hierarchy, routines and procedures, would be the goal. Third level is relationships for learning. And this is about getting kids to fall in love with learning. The fourth level is engagement. In other words, having bell-to-bell, busting your tail instruction. Level 5 is rigor and mastery, and that is within the engagement. So if you have engaging classrooms, the next step is how do we put rigor into that engaging instruction? And then level 6 is differentiation. Differentiation or creative strategies for individual students is where a teacher's got great, powerful, rigorous instruction, but now needs to learn how to personalize it to extend students who are mastering certain skills and provide meaningful interventions for those who are struggling in skills. And the seventh level in the hierarchy is called leadership. In other words, if someone is the best at what they do, their job is now to be a leader in teaching others what to do. So the leadership tip this week is making sure that you and your teacher are on common ground and have a unified vision of what their goal is. Remember, if you don't have a goal, there's nowhere you can go. But if you do have a goal, people are going to know exactly what they need to do every time you are interacting with them. Without a goal, people are lost. With a goal, people know exactly what they need to do to become the best. So if you want to be the best, stop having the most random goals and start having the most strategic, specific, and targeted goals for your teachers that you want them to accomplish this month or this year. And then when you have that strategic goal, everything that you do is going to be about helping them become highly effective or distinguished in reaching that goal.